Good afternoon and good morning, everyone, to all our NACCE friends and members. Thank you for watching this announcement on our new Veteran Entrepreneurship Initiative today. My name is Anelisa Lauri, and I will be moderating today's conversation. I'm part of the NACCE team. Just a friendly reminder that this is also happening during National Entrepreneurship Week. So make sure to follow on social media the hashtag National eShip Week, as you can see down below. And to remind everybody about our new book that was launched called Impact Ed, How Community College Entrepreneurship Creates Equity and Prosperity, written by our president and CEO, Dr. Rebecca Corbin, also co-authored with Dr. Andy Gold and Associate Professor Mary Beth Curley, who will both be speaking today on our call. Here is our agenda. I just want to talk about today our new partnership with the Institute for Veterans and Military Families at Syracuse University. We're going to talk about the STRIVE program and the importance of serving veteran entrepreneurs. We're going to highlight the Hillsborough Community College STRIVE program that has been running for a year and a half now. Then we'll take you through a student spotlight so you can hear from them directly on the impact of this program and how it's helped them launch their respective ventures. And then we will close with talking about our initiatives and goals with this partnership in growing this STRIVE initiative for 2021 by adding new colleges to this consortium. So just as many of you are aware, NACCE is committed to supporting programs for underserved communities. We have centers of practice that focus on 8 specific areas within entrepreneurship, and now with the support of IVMF, we are launching a practice for veteran entrepreneurship. We are very conscious of the needs and opportunities that veterans entrepreneurs have and provide, and so we're really excited to partner with them. We know that they have a great program on their own, and they have complementary resources and programming, and their mission to support entrepreneurship education fully aligns with what we do here at NACCE. So we know that the need is really significant. There's a lot of potential impact. We really want to help all the needs and talents of veteran entrepreneurs on their entrepreneurial journeys. And that being said, I'm gonna now pass it over to Misty Fox, who is the Director of Entrepreneurship and Small Business at the IVMF at Syracuse University.
Thanks, Annalise. I really appreciate it. So as mentioned, my name is Misty Fox. I'm the Director of Entrepreneurship and Small Business here at the Institute for Veterans and Military Families at Syracuse University. Many people wonder why Syracuse, and quite frankly, we've had a long history of serving veterans, dating back to World War I. But the Institute started programming in 2007 with our Entrepreneurship Bootcamp for Veterans, which was a cutting-edge program and still is to this day that we've now partnered with 10 universities to host across the nation. But that's one of only 4 pillars that to date have served over 150,000 military affiliated individuals and their families. What we do falls simply into these 4 pillars. We have policy, research, analytics, and a team that is dedicated to make sure that the community has the data it needs to drive the decisions and policies and resources that veterans can best benefit from. We also have a career preparation and employment hand with our Onward to Opportunity team that has trained 50,000 people to date in in-demand career fields, including your PMP or HR, or even certified ethical hacker. We also have my portfolio, which is a small business portfolio, which we'll be diving into a little bit later, and our community-based services portfolio, which is our America Serves, which really makes sure that veterans get to the right resource in the least amount of time. So as mentioned, in entrepreneurship, we now have 12 programs that serve veterans nationwide. But what we saw a few years ago, and thanks to our friends at HCC, we were able to realize how to answer it, is that veterans need connections in their own communities. We know that that is one of the top challenges for veteran entrepreneurs, as well as mentoring and access to capital. So we then decided to partner with community colleges and colleges in rural areas so that we can best reach those folks in their communities and make sure that they get tied to a tribe and the resources that they need. But that entire backbone of 100 different employees across 30 states that have done programming, not only in the US, but as well as on 35 different bases across overseas, OCONUS, is here serving not only Strive and NACCE, but of course, any folks that join this consortium. So we have an amazing foundation that we're really excited to build for them with this program. Back over to you, Anelisa.
And now I want to introduce Dr. Andy Gold, who is the Assistant Professor of Entrepreneurship Management and the co-founder of the InLab and Operation Startup and IVMF Strive.
Great. Thanks so much, Anelisa. And thank you, Misty, for all of those great insights into IVMF and the robust programming that it offers. I just want to say that I'm really honored to be on this call to share with you the Strive program at HCC in Tampa, Florida. But of course, we have one additional Strive school already, which is in a rural area of Tennessee called East Tennessee State University. So we've already started this initial expansion, and we're really excited to expand it further in partnership with NACCE. HCC was the first community college in the United States to partner with IVMF, and we're really gratified to have the opportunity to co-create this really awesome program. It's not just an education program, it's a program that really helps our colleges connect into the community and leverage those resources to help serve veterans that reside in all of our communities. Here at HCC, just to give you, sort of a little bit of background on our story, we of course have an Air Force base in Tampa called MacDill Air Force Base. We have about 45,000 students at our community college. So it's a large community college that serves both rural, suburban, and urban communities. It's really, really diverse. And a lot of veterans that transition out of MacDill end up staying in Tampa and end up landing at HCC. And that's really where we first get to interact with them. Sometimes on the college credit side through our entrepreneurship program, but many just come right into the Strive program as well. It's a very, very diverse cohort that comes through. Some are people that are transitioning out of service. Some are people that have been out of service for a while and have just been working in the private sector. Some have very, very early stage businesses and are kind of struggling and need some greater direction. So Strive fills multiple need states, those being some of them. I could talk about Strive all day and what the value of Strive is for community colleges generally. But you can see here some of the data points, and I think in a moment you'll hear from some of the student participants as well. So Strive was launched, I should say, in 2019 after a lot of hard work and co-creation put in by myself, Professor Curley, Misty, and countless other people that helped to build this program into what it is today. We've had over 100 participants and launched over 60 businesses and/or supported existing businesses. We're really excited to expand Strive across the United States to reach those pockets of communities that desperately need this type of programming. And I can assure you just from our experience that once you become part of the IVMF family, it truly is a family. It's a very, very supportive culture, one where our students can reach out into the IVMF network. And I think for our students and for our colleges, what a great way to be able to expand an offering into a much needed demographic within each of our areas. So what I'll do now is pivot over to Beth and allow Beth to have a little bit of a conversation with some of our students that really can be the best ambassadors for what it is we do.
So now we're going to have Professor Beth Curley moderate a panel discussion with our students. You can see we have 4 veterans here that participated in the program. And so I hope you enjoy hearing from them directly about the impact of this program and on their respective businesses and why they would encourage you on your campus to do the same and launching to support your local community and veterans there.
I'd like for everyone to meet some of the rock star participants that have come through a Strive program. And I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves and the company that they have started. And no one speaks better towards what they do and who they are and why they're here than the entrepreneurs themselves. So April, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Beth. My name is April Caldwell, and I am a co-founder and the CEO of Faven. And Faven is a two-sided marketplace designed to maximize unused space at local venues by booking mobile vendors and artisans for pop-up shops. So Faven is the Airbnb of small business.
Excellent, April. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's such a cool business model, and I can't wait for you to share some more about that too. Jason Hendricks, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company?
Sure. My name is Jason Hendricks. I'm the founder of Forgot or Not. We help time-constrained individuals who can't be at a special location or occasion, be at a special occasion. How we do that is we send a driver to the mall, pick up a gift, and hand deliver it. All of our drivers carry a 10.5 iPad, so even though you couldn't be there, you're still there. But that's not it. Each experience purchased with Forgot or Not comes with a full camera crew, making you there even when you can't be.
That is so excellent, Jason. Thank you so, so much. And Jason's going to be busy, I think, over the next month for Valentine's Day, I'm guessing, right?
Oh, definitely.
Great. And next up is Dwayne Kimball. Hi, Dwayne.
Oh, hello. How we doing, Beth? My name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of KMD 89, VA Claims Consultant, Leave No Vet Behind. Here at KMD 89, I educate veterans on the VA disability compensation claims process through educating them through a series of training webinars that I provide monthly so they may be able to maximize their benefits and give their claim the due process it deserves.
Boy, that is so succinct, Dwayne. I'm so happy about that. I remember working with you on value prop.
Oh, yeah.
And last up is Owen Robinson, and I'm sorry. And this is a little spin on things. I'm so excited for Owen to introduce himself and tell us about what's the word I'm looking for? It's not really company. Is it company? Venture?
It's a company, to so to speak, but it's a social entrepreneurship.
Yes.
That's the best way I think to describe what we are. But I'm Owen Robinson, and I'm the executive producer and founder of the Lab Theater Project, Inc. Lab Theater Project is a working professional theater company that is focused on developing new works from emerging artists, particularly emerging playwrights, but also an educational venture in training and developing new artists to enter into the professional theater community, as well as expanding beyond how theater can intertwine with business and expand what can be done for businesses through the synergistic relationship with theater.
Isn't that cool? I mean, all of us on the panel, I know, just think that this is the coolest model ever, and just seeing how this has grown has been very, very exciting, and how you were able to do that during some crazy times. So yeah, crazy times to say the least. So I think I'm gonna go back to April for a quick second. April, can you tell us a little bit about what made you want to join a training like this? What was it about this training that kind of got your attention?
So my story is a little bit interesting because I started as a gourmet popcorn company. That was my first business. And the first conference I ever went to for a business was VWise in San Diego, which was one of the IVMF courses. And after going to that, I got this passion for entrepreneurship, and I realized that there was a whole new community out there. So I attended the Veterans Edge Conference in Dallas 2 years in a row. And at the second one, I ran into Dr. Andy Gold, which is our mentor for the Strive program here in Tampa. And just as fate would have it, I was moving to Tampa at the time, and he just was telling me so much about what they were doing there and what they were doing for veterans entrepreneurship. I decided that I had to go, and I was part of the first cohort at the end of 2019. So was
and
great.
yours is such a unique story because you were a part of IVMF prior to Strive. So that's neat because it's maybe a little different than some of the other folks on the panel. And yes, Dr. Andy Gold, my colleague, and he is quite the salesman for the program. That's for sure. Oh, that's great. Jason, what about you? You're another one I know who has gone through many different trainings. Why Strive? What was it about Strive?
Sure. So for me, Strive, it was more personal. You know, not knocking any other programs because every entrepreneurship program I've been to have been great. But Strive was a little bit different because it had that more personal touch to it. With me transitioning out the military and being so young, I was kind of lost. Not kind of, very lost. Really didn't know which way to go. Had different people pulling me different ways through textbook. And textbook is great. But at Strive, they teach you to actually apply action, right? So it's more than just a book. They actually show you and say, hey, get out there and test it in the real world. And so that kind of made me, it made me more attracted to Strive, to want to keep going with that personal interaction.
Yeah, Jason's like in the personal touch, and I'm glad you mentioned that. That's great. So that's why you joined, because you knew that there was that personal touch. I'm gonna move over to Owen real quickly to ask this question, because I think, Owen, your journey to us was a little bit different, wasn't it? Because I think I remember sending an email out about
Yeah, my journey is a little different. I'm actually an adjunct instructor for Hillsborough Community College. So Beth and Andy and I are peers. And I got it through an basically inter office email announcing the Strive program, and kind of looked at it. And I think I reached out to Beth and kind of said, hey, this is who I am. Do I qualify to be part of this? And of course, Beth immediately said yes. And so I came into the program. Really, the goal for me was to find out how to better run my nonprofit, and to see, because I wasn't new to entrepreneurship. This is actually my third entrepreneurial venture, but my first nonprofit. And I was looking for guidance on that world, because the nonprofit world is very different from the for-profit world. And that's how I wound up in Strive.
Yeah, it was a kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for, a serendipitous moment there, because all of a sudden I thought, why are we not inviting our own colleagues to something like this? I'm sure there's veterans within our faculty, staff, and as well. And Owen was one of the ones that responded. So we were really excited about that, and still are, as a matter of fact. We kind of use you as that shining star example of someone that was right at our fingertips, and we could have easily looked over. So colleges are watching watching this. Don't forget that there's always, resources.
I would strongly encourage, don't overlook your faculty, and don't overlook the veterans within. I mean, entrepreneurship is so much a part of higher education now, that many of us within higher ed are entrepreneurial by our very nature.
Yes, indeed. Dwayne, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I know that there was probably a lot of valuable things that you learned during your experience with the Strive program. Do you think you might be able to tell us maybe your top one or two things that really have resonated with you and you've continued to be able to use?
Well, two. One, the feasibility plan. I remember the first time that we talked about that, and I remember like, man, this is a lot. This is going to have to go into this plan, but it's something that I still use in my business today, that I refer back to. With Andy being my mentor, we discuss it even when I'm thinking about a different revenue stream. I refer back to that feasibility plan. And a second, I would say, is the relationships that I've created with other members of the Strive program, and we still talk. We bounce ideas against each other. And one of the Strive members, I have a YouTube channel, and one of the Strive members was like, "Hey, fellow Strive members like, hey, you ought to start a YouTube channel." And I was like, "Who's going to listen to me on YouTube?" And that's now my leading revenue stream. And I have clients from Okinawa, Japan, Normandy, France, Medellin, South America, Costa Rica, Kuwait. So it's helped me reach more veterans than I ever expected, and I wouldn't have had any of that without attending the STRIVE program. But the number one thing, the feasibility plan.
That feasibility plan. And I know I saw everybody's heads nodding when you mentioned that feasibility. It usually scares everyone to death when they see that in the module. But we get you through it. We get you through it, and we're there to help support. And I loved what you said there too, Dwayne, about learning from one another, because we can bring so much as your facilitators into that classroom or into that training, but everyone has things that they know that they can add value to the cohort. So that was wonderful that you mentioned that. April, what about you? Anything unique that is staying with you?
Yeah, I always refer back to the lean model canvas to make sure I'm keeping up with who my real customers are and how to align myself better, how to make sure branding and marketing is on target. And, in general, STRIVE just helped me realize that there are demands of being a business owner where other programs may just make you feel like you can do it no matter what. And, I think there are people that are cut out to be entrepreneurs, and there are people that aren't. And it's not a bad thing. There's just a lot of ups and downs to being an entrepreneur. I call it the entrepreneur coaster because it's so crazy sometimes. But I think STRIVE helped me realize that I can't do this alone. I have to lean into my community and the network that STRIVE helped me create. So all those tools and resources have been really helpful in just getting me to where I am right now and in the future too.
That feedback and letting others know about the rigor of the STRIVE program, I think I'm glad that you mentioned that, April, because we struggle with that as your facilitators. But we really believe that to be an entrepreneur is a really tough thing to do, and we're letting you fail in a safe space. Is that a little bit of what you felt in the program, that you had this safe space for failure?
Yeah, absolutely. It's you fail all the time. You have to be comfortable with failure at this point of being an entrepreneur. But even just knowing I didn't do my homework this week and feeling disappointed, but not feeling to the point where you couldn't go back and ask for help and see where, somebody else could maybe help figure out where you're lacking or you're having a problem. So just having all those mentors and people pouring into you, and it's an amazing feeling knowing that people are there to support you through the highs and the lows.
Yeah, that's great. I have to ask Jason this one because April and Jason both, I know, have gone through many different trainings. If there is a resource out there for them to learn, they're there. So April hit on a couple things, Jason, that was kind of differentiated about the STRIVE program compared to others. Is there anything that you'd like to add to April and Dwayne, what they've already mentioned?
Oh, most definitely. I think it's the mindset. You can go through a lot of different programs and they can teach you a lot of strategies and a lot of tactics. And a lot of times when you try to implement those strategies and tactics, it sometimes don't go well. Well, with STRIVE, they start with the mindset. So with me, they talk, well, not even just with me, with the STRIVE program, it's effectuation. Who do you know? What do you know? And what do you have? Right. And so having that mindset, it helps you kind of battle different things through your entrepreneurial journey. And I think that's what separates STRIVE from any other entrepreneurial program. It's the mindset. They teach you how to think and survive.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Jason, because that's my favorite thing. I love discussions around effectuation. Now with Owen, we got to learn a little bit from Owen because he was one of the first ones to come through with a social entrepreneur model. And so we listened and hopefully gave some feedback. And out of some of your frustrations, Owen, we were able to then make things better. So maybe speak to that a little bit about the ability to kind of mold what you're learning that's a traditional business model, and then how that aligns with a social one, maybe?
Sure. So when I came into the Strive program, like I said, I was looking for help with my nonprofit. And the model that existed at the time wasn't super geared towards me, and my needs weren't necessarily being directly addressed. And so through it, I started to, because of my nature as a student, I push back. When I take on any sort of knowledge and learning environment, my goal is to get what I need. And so if I'm not getting it, I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to push instructors until I find the information I'm looking for, whether it's directly from them or whether they push me towards a resource that I can go get it. And that's kind of what happened. But it also, I think, helped shape the Strive program, because I highlighted some of the weaknesses in the program and said, you're not focused here. And so I've seen over the time, since I came through the program, that it's continued to evolve and continues to change and broaden, so that it's not just focused on strictly the for-profit world, because there's an awful lot of us that we as veterans can bring to nonprofit and social entrepreneurship.
Right.
And for us, for anybody not to look at a vet for social entrepreneurship is a mistake. The level of grit and intrinsic motivation that we bring just by our nature begs to be dropped into social entrepreneurship.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think it's important for people that are involved with the Strive program, whether it's a student coming in or a college who's hosting or faculty who are facilitating, that this program is an entrepreneurial venture itself, and you consistently get better. That you get to know your customers and those who are taking part in the program, and there's that room to be able to grow and make it fit to the cohort that you have. So thank you very much for that, Owen. Appreciate it. I'm going back to, I think I'm to Dwayne, because I know I skipped you on a first question, so I'm going to move on to another question here. How do you feel about getting this program out to other communities, other colleges? I guess what I'm asking about is, if there's another veteran out there like yourself and they don't have access to something like that, how might you encourage a college to take on a project like this? Can you give any words to the wise there?
Sure. It's funny you should ask me that question, because last year I was thinking of, I pivoted a little bit and added an additional customer that I wanted to reach. And that was businesses that employ a lot of veterans, like community colleges, universities, law enforcement agencies, fire departments. And so I came up with, I reached out to a marketing company, and they created a media pitch deck for my business. And then I was like, well, I'm not a good salesperson, so I was, looking to hire independent sales contractors. Then you get into this old 1099 thing. But, looking at coming up with something like this, a review, and then pitching that to, other community colleges or other educational institutions that have a veteran population, and say, hey, this is what we're doing. And here are some live testimonials of other veterans like yourself that went through the process, and here are some of their success stories. And then we can share, some of our struggles as well as successes. And for me, if I saw that and I was thinking about joining a program like Strive, or if I was a educator at a particular community college, for example, and I wanted to bring something like that to veterans, I think what we're doing now, and recording our successes and stuff like that. I mean, it speaks monuments to the program itself.
Yeah, that was great. I think that they would appreciate hearing that. Do you have any ideas on that one, April? Like, we're trying to expand a program, and if you were talking to a college, what might you say to them?
Yeah, certainly. So for me, I think we are totally spoiled here in Tampa. We have so many resources, and we're so blessed to just be able to take part in different ones. But I have to try to remember like other places that aren't as lucky as we are. And there are veterans all over the country. There are veterans who have no idea that these types of resources are available. It just makes so much sense to be able to reach out to a community who are, just as eager and ambitious as we are. Just because they don't happen to live where we do in Florida doesn't mean they shouldn't have quality resources and education. So for me, as many locations as possible to get this program out there. There are veterans make the best entrepreneurs. So if we can continue to grow the veteran entrepreneur community, then we all rise. So get it out there to as many places as possible, for sure.
I know that Owen would have a really unique perspective on this because he is a faculty. So I'm going to go to Owen, but Jason, you're not out of the doghouse, my friend, because I'm going to ask you something similar, but in a different way. So Owen, go ahead. Give us your thoughts on this question.
So hopefully I won't spend too long on this, but so if you're an educational institution and community college or a four-year institution, and you're considering how to impact your community, you have to consider something like a STRIVE program, aiming at the veterans, providing access to vets for something like this in order to give them the opportunity to grow in their own community. The nature of what entrepreneurship and veteran entrepreneurship can do within a community is unlimited. To not embrace STRIVE and bring STRIVE into your program as a tool is almost, to me, almost foolhardy, because the simple easy benefits are, first off, you're going to increase your enrollment numbers because you're offering a program that's directly appealing to them. Okay, let's face it, veterans look for things that draw veterans. We like to be around each other. We've ETS'd out of the service. We're still not necessarily accustomed to civilian life. We want to be around other veterans. We like them. We all speak the same language. We all speak the same motivation, the same determination, and everything of that nature. So having a STRIVE program as a resource to be able to offer to your veteran community is going to give you more student body on there. It's going to give you more community and greater networking within that community. And they're going to build outside of the educational and scholastic community. They're going to build within the communities where they are. Okay, and that core grassroots building is the foundation of what makes things work in our country. It's not the multi-billion-dollar corporations. It's small entrepreneurs making it work and pulling up their bootstraps and bringing their dreams and passions to life.
Wow, Owen, I knew that you were going to hit that out of the park because you're a faculty at a community college, so you know mission, and you're a veteran, and you're an entrepreneur. That's the trifecta there you've got going on, Owen. Now, Jason has a different perspective, and he doesn't know what this question is, but I think you're going to appreciate it. Jason, you have been on a university campus, and you've been on a community college campus. Do you, in your opinion, do you think that a community college campus has some special sauce when it comes to welcoming veterans on and the type of education that you received? Don't forget to.
Yeah, sure. I do. What I think that is, I think it's a little bit more of a personal touch. I never really understood community college. I always looked at community college as community college. Everybody wants to go to the university. But with entrepreneurship, I think it's highly important that you start at a community college, only in my opinion, because when you're starting small, you want to attack your community. And when you're at that community, in my opinion, with Strive, they just help you cultivate that culture. You know, they teach you everything. It's like A, B, C, D, like your ABCs. You know, you just kind of know it.
Yeah, it's I think what's really unique about the community college is that the people that you're engaging with are practitioners. They're many, I think you all met entrepreneurs that were brought in from the community. The facilitators themselves are entrepreneurs and practitioners, and you know, versus maybe that researching type of institution. So I think it's a very welcoming place, and I know that you had at least told me about that once before, that vibe on the campus was really, really awesome. So the last question that I'm going to throw out to everyone, and I'll do the whip around, and I will do it in order this time. So I mixed it up on you a little bit. So I want you to let us know why you would recommend going through a Strive program. Just a real short, it's almost like you're writing our value proposition for us. If you're talking to someone else, what is it that you would say that, hey, Strive, got to do it. This is why. And I will start with April. I'm going in order of the slide this time.
So Strive is important because it helps you decide whether you have a viable business. I think it's pretty plain and simple. Product market fit is something that is reiterated over and over again in the program. And not only do they help you get clear on your vision for the company, but also how others can see the vision with you. So it's great if you can see the future of your own company, but if no one else is seeing that with you, it really doesn't matter. So I believe that Strive is in place in order to help veteran entrepreneurs find out whether they have a viable business and how to make their dream come true.
Jason.
Strive help you solve problems, real world problems. That's what they start out with. You know, you want to go out to the real world and you want to look for real problems and create solutions. Strive helps you realize that within a problem comes opportunity, and that opportunity typically is the solution to the problem that you're solving.
Dwayne.
Strive, you know, when I look back on it now, I was just sitting here thinking, before I was in business, about a year before I attended the Strive program, and I felt like I was in a small boat with a 5 horsepower engine. And as I started going through Strive, every week that engine got bigger and bigger. And now, you know, I have an engine the size of, you know, those big boats you see on behind those houses on Davis Island with the 350 Merc motors. That's what I feel like, you know, and now with the business, but it's all, you know, from Strive. I had to almost hit I had to hit the reset button because it taught me the things I've learned in the program. I still use, you know, almost a year and a half later. And it's just, I'm constantly trying to come up with new ideas, you know, on a weekly, monthly basis, but I continue to refer back to a lot of things that was taught in Strive. And, you know, it's been amazing. So, you know, I can't, you know, I could go on and on and on about it. You know, if you're watching this video and you're thinking about starting a Strive program at your location, you know, I don't think you need to, it's not, you don't have to put that much thought in it. It's the proof is in the pudding.
And Owen.
Let me put it this way, to the institutions that might consider putting a Strive program in place. You want to put a Strive program in place to help veterans discover if their passion and their vision can become a reality, so that they can have a place to grow business in their community and to grow and connect to a like-minded community on your campus.
Thank you all so much for talking with us this afternoon, and your insights were absolutely invaluable. April, if you can share with us some of the things that you found really valuable with the Strive program.
So even after the program was over, I never felt like I couldn't reach out. In fact, they basically made it very clear that there was a mentorship available to us after we were done. So jumping into the mentorship program and getting valuable feedback, especially during COVID, when a lot of people had to figure out how to pivot, was instrumental in helping my company stay alive. And it actually helped us make our first real dollar. So the mentorship that we got through the Strive program, not just individual mentorship, but they also offer programs every single week with new ways to learn. So you can register for classes through the Strive program. Every single day, they have something that they're offering to help supplement what you're learning and what you did learn with the Strive program.
And Jason, is there anything that you'd like to add about what you found valuable with the Strive program?
I found most valuable the mentorship program. Once you graduate, you still stay connected, and it's like a personal communication with your mentor. In fact, I got a funny story earlier today. I texted one of my mentors because I was trying to balance my books, and so I texted and I said, "Hey, is a marketing expense considered an asset or a liability?" He texted back within less than an hour, explaining the breakdown of what the marketing expense and how it relates to the balance sheet and the income statement. And so with that, I found so much value in that because I didn't have to wait or set an appointment for 2 weeks down the line. It was more personal, and I value that.
Dwayne, what about you? What you found valuable in phase 3?
Yeah, after I finished the program, I was assigned a mentor, and we talk on a bi-weekly basis, and it's been tremendous because when you have an idea or you're thinking about doing something, you have someone that you can bounce those ideas off to make sure you don't go down a path that's is going to cause you any problems down the road. So I really value it, and it's just been tremendous in the feedback. And like Jason said, you have someone there that you can email if you need to get on a conference call, 5 or 10 minutes or something like that. Is there, so it's definitely it's been helpful. And like I said, I just can't. It speaks volumes.
And Owen, any last words on the value of in phase 3?
Yeah, I think there's a lot has to be remembered when you come through the Strive program and you've come to the end of it. That's the time that you're going to go out and go and do, and it's equatable to me to the first jump in jump school. All right, you've had all the training, but the first time out the door, there you go. And the Strive program, has prepped you and everything like that, but you get to the door. Are you going to jump out, or is the jump master going to put a boot against you and push you out? Okay, and that's what it kind of comes to. But to be at a more serious point to what follows the program, you get access to a mentor for sure. And I can say without unequivocally, the access to a mentor that I had for post-program has kept my business and my dream alive. Without it, I wouldn't have had to be able to figure out how to pivot and do the things we needed to do quite frankly, because of the pandemic. In the age of this pandemic, I am an audience-based business. I need people to come through the door. I was shut down, and we pivoted and figured out a way to maneuver ourselves. And an awful lot of that is attributable to my conversations with my mentor, brainstorming and coming up with other ways to develop revenue streams. So don't devalue what comes after. What comes after is as important as what you get in your content learning. What comes after is is that rich meat that's going to make your chute open up and you land safely.
That was beautifully put, Owen. Thank you. All right, Anelisa.
Thank you so much, Beth, and thank you to all the students. This was such a great discussion. As you can see, this is really an impactful and meaningful program. We are in search of finding new colleges within the NACCE network who want to participate and be part of this. So we are looking to add 3 schools this spring for a fall launch. If you are interested, you can please complete our interest form at nacce.com/veterans, which is where the Center of Practice page will live also. Any questions, please feel free to contact me directly. My email is there. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We are really excited to launch the STRIVE program in partnership with IVMF, and happy National Entrepreneurship Week. Thank you so much.